Hello, here I am at Suffolk Rural in Otley. It's a beautiful day and I'm thinking about how we as Christians respond to the coronavirus. How is it that we can be different? What makes our response different? What resources do we have from God that really help us to shine His light and to be peaceful and loving through a crisis? And I came back to Jesus talking about the greatest commandment. This is what Jesus said the greatest commandment was. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. And love your neighbour as you love yourself. And within that commandment there's sort of three great directions for us to think about. There's the upward direction, God. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind and with all your strength. And just being here in this beautiful situation with the daffodils all around me is something that really lifts my heart to God. And in this time when we're self-isolating, where we tend to sort of end up, our world gets smaller, actually having our eyes reopened to the greatness and glory of God is really an important thing for us. So if you're self-isolating, if you find you have more time on your hands, one thing to do is to do something that will remind you of God's greatness. Go out into the countryside, go out into your garden and remind yourself of how big God is. Remind yourself also by looking at His Word and by praying. Focusing on God is really important for all of us at this time and helps to restore our perspective. The thing that Jesus next goes on is we looked up and we also need to look out at our neighbour. Love your neighbour as you love yourself. And it's just been so heartening as Archdeacon for Rural Mission. I've the recipient of so many stories of little rural communities helping each other, people doing each other's shopping, people praying for each other, people ringing each other through our phone tree and just keeping in touch with each other and caring for each other in just a simple and practical way. But it's also really important for us as well, because when we look out to others, it also lifts our spirits to focus on other people and not just on ourselves. It's part of our own salvation, if you like, to work out in others. And I'd really encourage you, whoever you are, if you are well, to think about how you can bless other people. It may be that you can't go out because you're self-isolating, but maybe you can ring a neighbour and give them the joy of just having that little bit of company and interest in their lives. And lastly, or maybe I shouldn't say lastly, it's about loving ourselves. And so often I hear people saying, oh, don't pray for me, I'm not so important as other people, I haven't got as many needs, I don't need to be have people pray for me, or I don't need any help. But actually one of the things that we're learning in this time is that being community involves people needing to admit to their vulnerability and need, as well as people who are willing to give and to help, and both things are equally needed for community to really form and to flourish. And it's simply not true that we're not important. Each one of us is so precious to God in His sight. And which one of us as a parent wouldn't be terribly distressed if one of our children said, oh, don't listen to me, I'm not important, I don't need to tell you my needs. And God wants us to share our needs both with Him and with each other, and to recognise that we are completely precious in His sight. So recognising that we are precious and important, that God has made us, is a really important part of our response to this crisis, because when we know how precious we are, then that helps us to respond with generosity and love to each other as well. So 3 directions for this time: look up, look out and look in to ourselves, knowing that we are completely loved by God and He also loves our neighbour.